Welcome back to Energy Bites, where I talk about all things energy for a healthier and happier life. For those who have been following me on my past videos, you'll notice that this one is a little bit different. I had some sudden inspiration about a topic that I want to talk about, and this isn't a new topic. In fact, I have a couple of videos that I've already done that kind of dance around this topic. One of the videos is called When Kindness is Unkind, and the other video is called The True Meaning of Love. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video that kind of talks about the same sort of thing is because this is the topic that actually makes me the most unpopular. I am a pranic healer or an energy healer. I work with energy and I help people with problems on the physical, emotional, and mental levels. Most of the healers I know, the reason why you get into this type of work is either A, you experience something yourself that might have been traumatic, it might have been a little bit unpleasant, and then you manage to find a way out of it through a healing modality. Okay, maybe it's helped you, maybe somebody, another healer has worked on you and made you feel substantially better. Or the other reason why people do this is because they might have in the past had another type of job that's related to energy, and they know it's complementary and that it is very effective in helping people on all of these levels. Now, my reason isn't any different. I used to work in finance, and so my brain, as you can imagine, is very logical and very analytical. So for me, if you asked me 10 years ago, healing wouldn't have been anything on my radar, and it would be actually something that I turned my nose up to because I didn't believe in it. Not that I didn't understand that there was something beyond the physical that exists in the world, but because it just wasn't something that I could do myself. For example, I remember I used to suffer with back pain, and I would go to a chiropractor, and the first thing he would do is, okay, can you relax? And I'm like, okay, yeah. He's like, no, you're definitely not relaxed. You're very, very tense and you're very stiff. So please just take a few breaths and relax. And I'm like, in my mind, I honestly thought, I am in finance and I am successful for a reason. It's because my mind is always working. It's very analytical. I'm always thinking. So for me, turning off my mind was an impossible task. And in fact, I actually thought that it wasn't even necessary. When things went downhill in my life, and this might be another video that I will get into one day, but when things started going downhill, I realized that there needs to be something that I can do that's different from what I'm used to doing, because whatever I was doing before wasn't working and my life actually sucked. Okay, so again, I will go into that a little bit more in detail on another video one day, but the point is, I felt that there was no way out. I felt that I was trapped, and it just kept spiraling downwards. So it got to a point where I started actually taking people's advice, because I was someone who was very stubborn. I'm gonna say I probably was a know-it-all, and everything that happened in my life I needed to figure out for myself. Listening to someone else wasn't something that I could do easily. And when things started getting really bad, I started having to listen to other people. And one person actually told me, you need to slow down, you need to start doing things, maybe you should try meditation. And again, it was something that I was thinking, yeah, that's actually going to help me. Just sitting there and doing nothing is going to fix my problems. If any of you know me now, this is exactly what I tell other people. And I understand when you don't necessarily connect with these words or what I'm saying, because it's not something that you're used to doing. But believe me, talking to a number one skeptic that never thought staying still having stilling your mind or anything like that would help at all. This is what I do every day because I know it helps. I know it's something that can help a lot of people. It's really simple, it's free, it's easy to do. You can implement it into your everyday routine very, very easily instead of waiting for something to go really wrong and having to see doctors or get tests done and to really try to fix a severe problem that's actually physicalized in your body or through emotional and mental pain. So, getting back to my point on what this video is about, I am a healer, and one thing I have learned in the years that I have done this is I have learned not to heal people. Okay, and I'm going to repeat that. I, as a healer, have learned not to heal people. Okay, and that sounds, it actually doesn't make sense, does it? And when I tell people, especially other healers, they're like, oh yeah, you must do a lot with your family. And when I first started and I realized this stuff really works, I really want to help the world, I want to save everybody. I helped my parents in Canada. I would do things on my kids. I was trying to convince my husband that it worked, even though his mind wasn't that way inclined. I tried my friends, other family members. And what I learned was that without a positive shift in your mindset, healing may alleviate a lot of symptoms, a lot of physical symptoms, emotional and mental symptoms, and even get down to the root cause. But without a fundamental mind shift, this change, this improvement may only be temporary because you're not actually taking on something new that will enable you to change the way you think. And in order to change how you think, you need to start understanding different things, different principles. Now, the reason why I think this is important is because this is tied to life lessons. When you have a life lesson, let's say you're, okay, I'll use myself as an example. I was very shy growing up. I wouldn't even speak. I nearly flunked kindergarten. And when I even got to high school and university, I would sit there and I would have all these questions in my mind, but I would be too afraid to put up my hand. I would be too embarrassed in case it was something that people thought was stupid, and that maybe I wasn't paying attention 10 minutes ago and the teacher just mentioned it. And I was afraid to say something because, I doubted myself a lot. And so when I finally got to the point where people weren't listening to me. I had so much to say, but people weren't listening to me. And this happened over years. And finally, I used my voice. I spoke my truth. And I actually, it was during a meeting in one of my first jobs after I graduated from university. And I was sitting around this table and people were arguing and disagreeing. And in my head, I had already figured it out. And because people weren't used to me saying anything important or substantial, they continued to talk over me until finally I slammed my hand on the table and I said, listen, everybody, this is what needs to be done. And I was very assertive. I was very confident, but this was because it took years for this to come out. I bottled a lot of things up. And because I was so frustrated, it came out in a burst and everybody just froze and they just sat there listening to me. And I was really heard for the first time. And they all smiled and they all agreed. And I felt really good thinking to myself, why didn't I do this sooner? Why couldn't I just get over myself and allow myself to speak what I thought, And so when this breakthrough happened, and a lot of you might be thinking, okay, that was a little bit silly. All you needed to do was speak. Everybody has their own life lessons to learn. And the ones that you need to learn aren't going to be easy. And so because of my upbringing, because of my experiences in the past, this was why I was so shy and insecure and not wanting to speak my truth, because I thought I would be ridiculed and I thought it would be embarrassing for me. And as silly as that may sound to you, it was my truth. And when I finally learned that, my life shifted, not just a little bit, but tremendously, and my life started taking off in directions I can't even describe. I was getting different opportunities, and I know that this was one of the fundamental life lessons that I had actually learned, or a test that I had passed. Now, when you pass your life tests, and it's not just one pop quiz, you need to consistently show that you are learning, or you have learned what you needed to learn. And when that happens, then you get to the next grade, which again isn't just a little shift, it's a jump. So when I choose not to heal people, it's not because I don't love them. It's not because I don't care. It's because I truly believe that everyone has the ability within themselves to help themselves. Now, as a healer, I don't want to say, hey, why don't you use my services? I can fix you, okay? Because I actually believe that does more harm than good. For me, it's about giving you the tools, the ability to breathe, the ability to kind of put everything aside for a moment so that you can search within, so that you can find the strength within yourself, or the empowerment to take the steps to help yourself. That is true positive change that is lasting. So I think that in order to help someone, obviously, okay, using my kids as examples, if I have a child who overeats a lot, or eats candy a lot, or sweets, and they constantly do this, they get their tummy aches, they ask for a healing, they can feel better in a quicker way than they normally would be able to, then they're not going to learn the lesson of moderation. They're not going to learn the lesson of, actually, if I keep on doing this, this isn't going to make me feel good, and they're not going to stop. Now, if I refuse to heal them, and then they learn, actually, I feel really sick to my stomach, I've eaten too much, they might actually learn, you know what, next time I'm not going to do this. I'm going to ration it out. I'm going to only have what I need. Well, not that you need candy, but you know what I mean? Like something, I'm going to have, a small portion and not overdo it. Now, I know I'm using a very simple example here, but I think simplicity is the best way to learn anything. And if you're someone like who I was 10 years ago and beyond, then I would be like, okay, well, my life is different. My problems are different. They're more complicated. If you use such a simple example, of course, it's easy to find a solution to. But you need to start simple. You need to start small, because once you gain these fundamental little principles in terms of how to take steps to do things better, and you piece it together, just doing those small things, even though it doesn't appear that you can fix a bigger problem, doing those small steps will get you closer and closer to fixing the larger problems. You don't need to find a really complicated system or method or process in order to fix yourself because of your many, many difficult problems that you've had over the years. What you need to do is take the small pieces of things that you can do for yourself to improve your life. One of the things that I tell people to do is deep abdominal breathing. It's the way you breathe that you can actually get more energy. You can actually get more clarity, believe it or not. If you learn to slow down your breath, if you learn to take deeper breaths, because not only are you getting more oxygen into your body, into your lungs, and into your bloodstream, it also has to do with energy. It also has to do with prana or chi, where it circulates within your body as well. So when I talk about not healing people, it's because there's something deeper, something more long-term that needs to happen. And everybody has this ability within them, not necessarily to heal themselves in terms of energy healing, but to learn about themselves, to pass their tests. And sometimes all you need is a little bit of guidance, but you can do the rest yourself. And how fulfilling is that, to be able to do something for yourself to improve your own life, and that having that affect everything else around you, including the people that you care about, including your career, including your relationships, and so forth, rather than having someone say, I can help you, I can do it for you. Now, again, I like to use examples of children. It's like teaching a child to be able to take care of themselves. Some parents, and I'm not judging here, but some parents like to do everything for their child because they love their child. They want to spoil them. They want to pamper them because they can. And they think, you know what, if I can buy this for you, I'm going to buy it for you because I didn't have that when I was your age. And because I can afford it now, I want to give you everything that I can afford because you deserve it. And that is love. That is the true meaning of giving unconditionally to someone that you love. However, for me, I didn't have that upbringing, and maybe that's why I don't think that way right now. I didn't have a lot growing up, but my parents tried to give me everything that they could, and they couldn't afford all of the gadgets, all of the new trainers and sneakers or whatever you want to call them. They didn't have enough for that, but whenever they could, they would give me what I desired. And because of that, this is why I stand very firmly and strongly in how I do things. Now, I've got 3 boys and they are now teenagers, and I couldn't ask for anything better in my life. And I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else in terms of I know how to bring up children, and I know how to bring up polite and good-natured children, and overall they listen to me, they respect me, and they do a lot of things that children these days don't do. Okay, and maybe it's because I have figured something out that is working. And one of the abilities that I have is the ability to analyze, the ability to cut through all of the junk, all of the chaos, and to see the simple answer as to how to make things work. I can look at someone, I can observe someone and understand straight away, actually, if they stopped doing this and if they started doing this, then things would simplify. And again, it's just a way for me to see through all of the junk and to get clarity for a simple answer to move forward. Going back to helping people, if my son has stress and from exams, now I'll teach him techniques to do super brain yoga. I'll teach him techniques to do deep abdominal breathing and ways that he can relax so that he can concentrate more fully and actually take in more information from his schoolwork. But what I'm not going to do is remove the stress away from him. And once I remove that stress away from him and he has that clarity, if he hasn't learned how to regulate this himself, he's going to start bringing back those same concerns when he hits an obstacle, when something doesn't go his way, when he doesn't get the result that he wants. He's going to start stressing out again and building it all back up, only to wait for me to take it away from him again. Now, in the long run, that isn't really going to help him. In the short term, it might, and he might feel good and he might feel grateful, but that's only temporary, as I said before. In the long run, he still hasn't learned the resilience. He still hasn't learned coping strategies. He still hasn't learned that actually feeling stress is a way of his body telling him that he might need to slow down or to do things a little bit differently. Every negative emotion that you feel is there for a purpose. It's not there to destroy your life. It's there to give you a signal, whether it's a physical signal or an emotional or a mental signal, that something isn't quite in balance, and you need to figure out a way to bring it back into balance and harmony. So when something like that happens, I'd rather teach them how to cope with things better, to understand how life works, so that they can understand themselves better and then therefore take the right steps to give themselves a break, to understand how to alleviate or minimize these stressful occurrences in their lives. Obviously, if something happens and they really need the help, I'm going to do it. Of course, as a mother, I'm going to do it. But given the choice, if I can help them to understand how they can help themselves, then I would choose that every single time. When I explain it like this, I'm sure that it's more understandable as to why I choose not to heal. But many times when I just blurt out, oh yeah, I don't heal my family members. I don't do that. People look at me like, wow, you don't really have a developed heart, do you? You're not a very nice person, are you? But it goes much deeper than that. So please, if you have the chance and you haven't already, watch my other videos about when kindness can be unkind, and the other one where the true meaning of love, because it goes much deeper than just buying you a present when it's your birthday, or giving you things as you need them. There's a difference between instant gratification and long-term benefits that really go much deeper than making someone happy or comfortable for the moment. Please watch my other videos to understand this a little bit more, because I feel so strongly about this topic. I think it is necessary for the evolution of each person and their soul journey to learn lessons. Of course, you want to balance it out. Everything is about balance, where you can't just suffer in order to learn. But there can be a nice balance where you can learn your lessons, when you can feel a little bit of pain or discomfort so that you can get even higher, okay? It's not just about staying in the pain. So I hope that makes sense. I'm sure I'm going to make more videos about this topic, because again, this one is near and dear to me, and it makes a lot of sense if you understand the concepts behind it. Anyways, if you like the videos that I talk about, or if you like the topics that I talk about, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more energy bites, where I talk about all things energy so that you can live a happier, healthier, and more balanced and harmonious life. Until next time, take care and stay inspired.